from the Philadelphia 76ers, Matt Geiger. Now, I only remember this name because growing up, I had a friend with that last name. So if you hear this, what's up, Julia? Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Alex Burleson back at it with another episode of the Seventh Man Up podcast. Let's get right into it. I bet a lot of people's NBA brackets are broken. If you would have asked me in the beginning of the playoffs that it would be an Oklahoma City Thunder Indiana Pacers finals, I'd be saying heck no. Injuries and exhaustion did play a role, though, in both teams getting there. More so the Pacers than the Thunder. The Thunder are just super stacked. And speaking of injuries, man, I feel for Jason Tatum. He's most likely going to miss the majority, if not the whole next season with that Achilles injury. That takes a long time to recover from. And with Tyrese Halliburton getting all the way to the finals, Kings fans all over are doing the hands to the face emoji because of everything that Tyrese Halliburton is doing. And I tweeted this a while ago, but I'll say this here. Kings traded away the wrong point guard. Both teams are small market teams. And I think it's great for the NBA. I think it will boost ratings more than turning people off. And I tweeted this a few days ago, and I stand by this, that if the Pacers win a championship this year, I think Reggie Miller should get an honorary ring. Why? This is because in the 04-05 season, if the Malice at the Palace doesn't happen, the Pacers most likely go on to win the championship that year with how deep they were. And let me tell you, they were deep. And their starting five was talented. They had guys like Reggie Miller, Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, Steven Jackson, Scott Pollard, and Jeff Foster. They had so many others too. That team was deep. And a lot of Ron Artest's old teammates say he was the heart of that team and wrongly blame him for them not getting a chip. And one thing that pisses me off with the whole Malice at the Palace thing is that none of the players took responsibility for their action. All of them were putting the blame on others rather than themselves. Talk about pathetic right there. All right, let me cool off a bit. Back to the playoffs themselves. OKC finished off Minnesota. Indiana finished off New York. It's going to be a battle of the small market teams. And I think this will be the first championship for either team, whoever gets it. And for how the media perceives New York, it's like Indiana was David and New York was Goliath. And instead of stones, Indiana used basketballs and it worked. On to the West. SGA against Anthony Edwards is going to be fun for years to come. Let's be real, the NBA kind of handed SGA the MVP this year. Great player, but was he really the MVP? In my opinion, I don't think so. You want to know who I think should have got the MVP? Nikola Jokic again. I saw way more out of him than SGA this year. Now, you know I got to bring up LeBron. Is he in the NBA Finals? For once? No. Well, he hasn't been in the finals for the past few years. I want to say since 2020, the bubble year. Is LeBron James ever going to get another MVP? I don't think so. But he's done so much in his NBA career that he's set. Bro's set for life. So many accomplishments. Most points throughout his career. Considered to be the baby GOAT. Yeah, I said baby GOAT. Michael Jordan will forever be the GOAT. All right. Now, onto something different right here. I'm going to test myself by naming random players from each team, past or present. And the catch is, they can't be star players. Sorry, NBA casuals. Bet you can't do that. Let's get to it. All right, from my Kings, John Solomons. From the Golden State Warriors, Adonal Foyle. Now, first two, I have no idea why. Okay, well, I do know why I remember John Solomons. I'm a diehard Kings fan, and so, like, I know just about every player in the past 25 years that has played for the Kings. Funny story about Adonal Foyle. Just names stick with me, and I thought he had a really unique name. And another reason why Adonal Foyle, the name Foyle has stuck with me, is that when I was a kid, I used to watch the Nickelodeon show All That, and when they rebooted the show for the first time, one of the cast members on there had the last name Foyle, and I was like, oh, I recognize that last name. The Warriors have a guy with that name. All right, moving on. From the Lakers, Ronnie Turioff. From the Clippers, Cuttino Mobley. From the Phoenix Suns, I can't remember if he's still in the league or not, but Marquise Chris. Marquise Chris is a local guy too from the Sac area. Now from the Blazers, Joel Prisbilla. I was a big fan of him. Growing up, before high school, I was a big, and Joel Prisbilla was always one of the bigs that I kind of looked at. Now from the Utah Jazz, you got Rodney Hood. From the Denver Nuggets, Kosta Koufos. Now, I know of Kosta Koufos because he did play for my Kings, but before the Kings, he played for the Nuggets. And a little tidbit about Kosta Koufos is that way back in the day when my family had season tickets, we would go to every single game. And this is like when the Kings were like really bad. Like nobody would go to the games. Only if you were like a real loyal fan, you would go to the games. And we were sitting close. And so I waited for the game to get super quiet. And I just get up and I yell, Kosta Koufos, more like doofus. I waited for the perfect time and you can tell he heard me. And then there were these two dudes in front of me. One of them stood up and yelled, yeah, what that guy said. Oh my gosh. All right, moving on. The Timberwolves, Nikola Pekovic. From the Grizzlies, I'm pretty sure he's still on the team, is Marvin Bagley. Now from the Dallas Mavericks, he was part of that AD trade, Max Christie. From the Rockets, I'm pretty sure this guy spent only 1 year with them towards the end of the James Harden era, and that's Ben McLemore. From the Spurs, you got DeJoun Blair. Now, DeJoun Blair, he was nice. I wish he would have stuck in the NBA. He was just undersized for his position, and the way he was built and his play style, it would have been hard for him to transition his game. I'm just being honest. From the Pelicans, you got Jackson Hayes. Now, Jackson Hayes, I'm pretty sure, is still in the league, and I think he's on the Lakers. Now, the Thunder, Nick Collison. Nick Collison goes all the way back to when they were still in Seattle as the Supersonics. And with that franchise and their fans, he was such a fan favorite that he got his jersey number retired by them. Number 4 is up in the rafters. Now, Chicago, Michael Jordan. No, I'm kidding. Scottie Pippen. No, I'm kidding. Now, when I was thinking about Chicago, one name that stands out is this Australian guy named Luke Longley. I only remember him because I think at the time he was like the only Australian in the league. Now, from the Pistons, Stanley Johnson. Now, this is one of my favorite ones. From the Philadelphia 76ers, Matt Geiger. Now, I only remember this name because growing up, I had a friend with that last name. So if you hear this, what's up, Julia? From the Knicks, David Lee. Now, if you remember David Lee, you're probably thinking of him on the Golden State Warriors. But no, before the Warriors, he was on the Knicks. And he was nice too. Now, from the Brooklyn Nets, the name that I thought of was a young Sean Livingston before he was winning chips with the Warriors. Now, he was on the Brooklyn Nets during his time when he was making his comeback into the league after that horrific knee injury he had while on the Clippers. Now, from the Heat, Eddie House. From the Magic, Courtney Lee. From the Hawks, now I really had to think about this one. And the name that popped into my head was Maurice Evans. Mo Evans, I'm pretty sure, was part of that Kings-Hawks trade that involved Mike Bibby. Mo Evans was on the Kings, and I do remember him playing for the Hawks, and I'm almost positive he was part of that Bibby trade. From the Charlotte Hornets, Vlade Divac. Now, if you're a real NBA nerd, you know that Kobe Bryant was originally drafted by the Hornets and then traded on draft day to the Lakers. And involved with that trade was Vlade Divac. From the Raptors, Grievous Vasquez. Now for this next one, shout out my boy Josh Carson, always giving me crap about this. All in good fun though. But from the Cavaliers, Mo Williams. From the Pacers, Jamal Tinsley. From the Celtics, Neemias Queta. From the Bucks, back in the day, Tim Thomas. And from the Wizards, Etan Thomas. I had fun with that. Just whenever you think of the NBA, all these names pop into your head that are star players, that are above average NBA players, that are the best player on their team. Now with me, I love digging deep into other players that are maybe like the 12th and 10th guy on the bench. The guys that get garbage time. Now from this, my simple encouragement. See how I was with all these teams? Every player made a name for themselves with their hard work. And it don't matter who your name is when you put your head down and grind out in what you're passionate about. Work at your craft and greatness will come out of it. Speaking of that, another name that popped into my head, I could say this for the Kings. I could say this for the Suns. He really made a name for himself on the Celtics, where he was a star player. But going off of my encouragement, look at Isaiah Thomas. I'm not talking to Isaiah Thomas from the 80s and 90s. He played for the Pistons. I'm talking the Isaiah Thomas that was the last pick in the NBA draft. He worked his butt off. I almost said the A word, but he worked his butt off to become a starter on the Kings. And then teams started to want him, and he became an all-star with the Celtics and really made a name for himself. So props to Isaiah Thomas. All right, now, before I end the episode, here's my prediction for the finals. I got OKC winning it in 5 games. Now, do I think there's going to be any blowouts? Fortunately, not. I think every game is going to be competitive, but I think OKC is going to come on top. Now, I say 5 games because I think the game that the Pacers could get is either game 1 or game 3 or 4 when it's on their home court. All right, so that was the episode for today. As always, remember, Stay up with them threes up. Love, joy, peace. See ya.